Hey, can you help me with something real quick? So is that like a hard no or a what? A flannel? Okay, yeah, I'll get you one. Okay, here you go. It's a flannel. Yeah, where are you? I've been waiting for half an hour. What? Sorry, what'd you say? Sorry, one more time? Just one more time. Wait, what? I have no idea what you're saying. Okay, kidding, but also not. So if you guys don't know, my name is Jackie. I'm a Canadian who's dating a man from Manchester. We've been dating now for nearly 2 years, completely long distance, and there have been a lot of things that have been really fun about it, and that's what I want to talk today in this video about, is the cultural differences that we've encountered as a North American dating a British person, and also the difficulties that we've had because of that, because there are a few of those as well. Obviously, I can only speak from my own experience. I'm not speaking for every Canadian. I'm not speaking for every British person. I'm just speaking about our experience that we've experienced. Okay, let's go. One thing that I do want to bring up is protection. I feel like British men are much more protective than what Canadian men are, and I don't mean this in like a controlling or overpowering kind of way. What I mean with this is that in the UK, particularly in the north of England where my boyfriend is from, it's more common for fights to happen when you're out on a night out. So a lot of British men will be able to defend themselves and protect the people that are like in their close circle if it came down to it. Whereas where I came from in Canada, fights were very, very, very rare. And to be honest, I feel like if it came down to it, a lot of the men that I know would have no idea what to do in a fight situation. So that's what I mean by that. I don't mean that they like care less in any way, and 100% Canadian men are tough in different ways, but I do feel that British men are more protective and kind of tougher in that sense. I am a strong, independent woman that don't need no man, but it does make me feel a little bit safer. I will just acknowledge that. There are a ton of language differences between Canada and the UK. We know this. Danny is from Bolton, which is just outside of Manchester, and this area is known for being very difficult to understand the accent, even for people in the UK who've heard it before. In the beginning, I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea what he was saying half the time. I found it so difficult to understand, and if I wasn't looking directly at his mouth when he was speaking, it just went like completely over my head. I would have to ask him so many times what it was that he was saying. But there is nothing hotter than a man with an accent, so I'll take it. Soccer is the sport of choice over hockey. Yes, I said soccer, not football, because I don't want to confuse any Americans who are watching this, because there's American football, which we call football, and it's just like a whole big thing. When I say soccer, you know exactly what it is that I'm saying. But basically in Canada, everybody watches hockey, and I feel like I was just starting to understand the rules of hockey because I had to watch it all the time, and now I have to learn a completely different sport. I'm not complaining. I like soccer, I like hockey as well. I just feel like there's kind of a learning curve when you're learning about all the players and all the teams and all that stuff, and I have to just like start fresh. It's a thing. Trying different foods and different experiences, and just like chatting about how we grew up. Since we come from completely different cultures, we never run out of things to talk about because there's always new things to introduce each other to. And the thing that's really fun about that is we can kind of like make food from our own countries to show that other person or teach them new experiences. One thing about all of the Canadian guys that I've dated, even if they weren't from my town, the town that I grew up in, I felt like we had really similar upbringings. Not that we ever ran out of things to talk about, but it just made sense that we would get along really well. So what I think is really interesting with this is that you can have two people who grew up so differently, who still think of the world in the same way, and that want to like move forward in their life with somebody else. I just love it. I think it's so interesting. We always have things to talk about. We always have new things to do and try, and I think it just adds a really cool dimension to a relationship. Okay, so things that make it really difficult dating a Brit. Obviously the distance, which once we're actually together, that will change because we won't be distant anymore, but having that kind of distance, also because we're from different countries, one person obviously has to give up everything and move to the other person. So it's that kind of adds a little bit of difficulty into a relationship, is that somebody has to leave everything behind to go and be with the other person. So that does make it difficult. Right now with the long distance, the time difference is a killer. So right now we are 6 hours apart from each other, which makes it really difficult to talk with each other. And talking is so important when you're in a long distance relationship. So that definitely makes it difficult. What else is difficult? Sometimes I feel like, don't get me wrong, I love pubs, but sometimes I feel like pub culture is difficult for me to fully embrace. I'm so down with going to the pub on a Friday night, but to go and stop in for one drink, I would find that really difficult. I'm not the type of person who can have a drink all the time, or that would want to stop in to like decompress at a pub. For me, that's not decompressing, that's like getting up and going. So for me, I know that's a huge part of British culture, and that's something that I need to try to adapt to. But that is something that's a little difficult for me. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about in this video, the cultural differences that I've experienced as a North American dating a British person. Let me know your experiences if you've dated a Canadian or an American or a British person, or anyone. If you've dated anyone, let me know what your experience has been. I'd love to hear about it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video.